Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Frank again. So in today's tutorial, we're going to be talking about how to do natural language processing and sentiment analysis using Python. So first, what is NLP or natural language processing? So natural language processing is a subfield of computer science, information engineering, and artificial intelligence concerned with the interactions between computers and natural languages. So as you might see, this definition by Wikipedia is by and large very broad and comprehensive. So what we'll be covering today won't be even touching the surface of it. So that is because NLP is just so broad and it's just a large field. So we won't be able to cover even the basics of NLP. So with that being said, the Python module we'll be using today is called TextBlob. And TextBlob is really amazing when it comes to natural language processing, manipulation, and sentiment analysis. And we'll be covering the 6 main features of TextBlob, which are noun-phrase extraction, sentiment analysis, tokenization, words lemmatization, spell check, and translation. So, you don't have to get confused right now with these terms because we'll be covering these one by one. So by the end of this tutorial, you will at least have a very solid and basic understanding of how TextBlob works. So first thing first, in order this all to work, you have to pip install TextBlob. So let me head over to my terminal and install TextBlob in my computer. So I'm gonna say pip install TextBlob. So it's gonna tell me I already installed TextBlob. Okay. Then I'm gonna go ahead, head back to my browser and head over to my text editor. So I'm gonna be using Jupyter Notebook again today. So in order, so use TextBlob. So we have to import TextBlob. So I'm gonna say from TextBlob import big T TextBlob and big B blob. So that is capitalized T and capitalized B. So basically we have to import TextBlob class from the TextBlob library. We would also need to import NLTK. So basically TextBlob is actually based on NLTK. So TextBlob stands on the shoulder of the giant, and that giant is NLTK, which is another separate Python library. So natural language processing toolkit. And the reason why we have to import NLTK is because we have to still install 2 more toolkits from NLTK in order for our operation to work today. So that is, we have to first, let me run this. Then we have to download nltk.download wordnet. We would also need to download nltk.download Brown. So you don't have to understand what these are because I don't even know. So you just have to download these, and so your code will be working. Otherwise, it's gonna throw you a error that you have to download WordNet and Brown. So let me run this because I already downloaded in advance to prepare the tutorial. Okay. So we'll be using the sample text data, which is a Zen of Python, to parse the data using TextBlob. So basically, this is a very short text of Zen of Python. Beautiful is better than ugly. Errors should never pass silently. Okay. So with that being said, in order to parse the text data, we have to first of all create a TextBlob object. So for doing that, we can say blob equals TextBlob. Then let me run this cell. We can pass the sample text data. So text1. Good. Run this again. Now we created a TextBlob object. So we're ready to rumble. So we can now explore. Now we can start exploring the features of TextBlob. So the first feature we're going to be exploring is called noun phrases. So what noun phrases does is it returns a word list containing different noun phrases or phrasal nouns. So let me show you what I mean by that. So we could say blob dot non phrases around this. So now you see it returns a word list, contains the a splitted word list. Yeah. But what's interesting here, so if you are having a basic sense of grammar, you understand beautiful is not really a noun. Either explicit is a noun because these words are all actually adjectives. Yeah. But now why it's listed in a noun phrase list. Yeah. So if any of you knows, please let me know. But as far as I'm understanding, it might be because beautiful, explicit, simple, and complex, all these four words, they are positioned in the subject of a sentence. Yeah. So for example, beautiful is in the subject of a sentence. So I think that's why in this specific context, that is why beautiful is actually classified as a noun phrase. Yeah. So it's not classified as an adjective. Okay, but anyways, if any of you knows this, please let me know. It's kind of interesting why this returns beautiful as a noun phrase in the list. So now the cool part is sentiment analysis. Yeah, this is something interesting because finally we can do some sentiment analysis using TextBlob. Yeah, so by doing sentiment analysis, we could say blob dot. So if we imagine that we want to know how positive or negative this text is, we could say blob dot polarity. Okay, this returns 0.14. This is a slightly positive value. That means this text is actually slightly positive. Yeah, and if I remember correctly, polarity, let me assign this to a variable, polarity. So I think polarity is in a range. So this is in a range. I think it's a range from -1 and 1. Yeah. So polarity ranges in -1 and 1. So when it's closer to 1, which means the polarity is very strong, so the text is also comparatively very positive. Yeah. So this is the polarity of the TextBlob object. Now we can explore something called subjectivity. Yeah. So we have polarity. We also have subjectivity. Okay. So what we do, how we analyze subjectivity is we can say blob dot subjectivity and run this. Let me comment this code. Okay, so as you see, this text is not very objective, yeah, because we use a lot of adjectives and strong vocabulary, strong adjectives, yeah. So this is not really very objective, yeah. And subjectivity is ranging from 0 to 1, yeah. So when it's closer to 1, which means this text is tending to be more subjective instead of objective, yeah. So this is polarity and subjectivity. And however, there is another way to access subjectivity and polarity. Yeah. So instead of saying blob dot polarity, we could say blob dot sentiment. Okay, sentiment is gonna return a named tuple containing both polarity and subjectivity. Yeah. Let me run this. So it's gonna say polarity is 0.14 and subjectivity is 0.52. Okay, very interesting. And so if we want to access polarity, we can just say index 0. Yeah, so this is a polarity. Polarity equals blob.sentiment and index 0. Yeah. So also subjectivity equals blob.sentiment 1. Now we can print polarity and subjectivity. Yeah, good. So the reason why we could do this is because blob.sentiment returns a named tuple. Yeah, so we can do like tuple indexing to access both polarity and subjectivity. Yeah. Okay, so that is basic sentiment analysis using TextBlob. Yeah. So now we're coming to tokenization. Yeah. So you might be confused what tokenization is. It basically means words or sentences splitting. Yeah. So TextBlob allows us to split a TextBlob object into sentences and or words. Yeah. So imagine in a scenario that you have to split all single word into a word list. So how would you do that? So you might say we could we could say text1 dot split. So we could say split by a white space or space. Okay, that's pretty good. But the problem is, as you see here, sometimes we've actually included ugly. So for example, ugly here, we've included punctuation here, and we also have a \n, that is a new line. Yeah. So this kind of parsing will getting very tricky for you quickly. Yeah. So you won't be using a normal Python way to apply a split to get what you want. Yeah. So the TextBlob way of doing this is pretty straightforward. So we can just say text1 dot words. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. It says string object has no attribute words. It's because it's not text1 dot words. Because text1, of course, it doesn't have attribute words. Instead of a text1 dot words, we should say blob dot words. Okay, perfect. Now you can see we've successfully split the words into a word list that is only containing a single word and a index. Yeah. So we can do indexing here. We can say blob.words 0, it's beautiful, equals to -1. So it's silently, yeah. So as you might see, this is very powerful. We can also do the same thing with sentences. We could say blob.sentences. Run this. Okay, as you might see, you split a TextBlob object into a word list. Sorry, it's a sentence list actually. It's a list containing the containing sentence as a object here. So it's a list of sentence objects, sentence 1, sentence 2. So we could do a indexing here, 0, 1, sentence. Okay, sentence beautiful is, let me do this. This is actually not working. Good, anyway. Okay, perfect. So you could use TextBlob to tokenize your text by using blob.words and blob.sentences. Okay, so that is very powerful here. So another thing we can, so if we use the index 1, so this is not really a string. So it's a specific TextBlob sentence object. So let me try, maybe we could say send1 equals this. Then we could say string send1. Okay, perfect. So as you might see, we can use a string method to convert a TextBlob sentence object into a string object by saying string send1. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Now moving along, we are entering the feature of words lemmatization. Yeah. So words lemmatization might be the most confusing part for me when using TextBlob, because you don't actually find any any specific definition in a dictionary. Yeah. So for example, we could search for lemmatization. So, or let's say just give the verb lemmatize. Yeah. We just want to search what lemmatize means. It says sort so as to group together inflected or variant forms of the same word. So Nord knows what this means. So I have no idea. So then I search something here. It's stemming. So we have something here from Stanford NLP group. Yeah. So we have some nice definition here. It says the goal of both stemming and lemmatization is to reduce inflectional forms and sometimes derivational related forms of word to a common base form. Yeah. So that is saying, so my definition for word lemmatization will be, lemmatization means to reduce the inflectional and derivational forms of a vocabulary to be the common base. So that is to convert an inflectional or derivational forms of a word to the base form. Yeah. So what I mean by this is, for example, so let's give a word. We could say word equals to organizes. As you might see, this is a third person form for organizes. So you would say she organizes, he organizes, but you will say I organize. So organize, the base form of organize will be organize. Yeah. So organize. So this is what lemmatization does. So convert an inflectional instead. So convert a inflectional or derivational forms of a word to the base form. Yeah. So these words will be analyzed in a single base form. Yeah. So more example, like we could say organized. So the base form will be organized too. Yeah. So for example, is, are, am will be be. Yeah. So this is called lemmatization. So let me comment this, quote this. Good. Now let me show you how this works. So we could do a lemmatization operation in TextBlob as well. So we could say we have to import word object from TextBlob. We can say from TextBlob import word. Okay. So we can give a vocabulary. So we could say word equals organizes. Okay, good. Now we could say blob word. So we're converting this word to a TextBlob word object. So we could say word. Run this. And we can print the type of blob word. It says it's a word. It's from TextBlob blob. Okay, now we can lemmatize this word. We could say blob word dot lemmatize. So it's gonna tell you what kind of form you want to lemmatize this to. So we're passing v here because we wanna like lemmatize organizes to organize. So that will be in verbal form. Yeah. So that will be in the verb form. We can say blob word to lemmatize v. I think this is gonna take a while. But interesting enough, it's not return organizes. It's not return organize. Yeah. But let me make this small and run this again. Okay, now perfect. So as you see, this is not very, sometimes it could be not very accurate because like we had to make the first letter small, then we do the lemmatization. We can convert organizes into the base form of that verb. Yeah. So let me try this again. Let me try another example here. We can say word 1 equals to went. So as you know, so the went is the past tense of go. So we can do this. So we'll see how TextBlob works with this. So we can say, so let me do this in the one-liner. So we could say word. We wrap this. We convert word 1 to a TextBlob object. Then we say lemmatize passing v. Good. Now, so the went is lemmatized to be go. Okay. Okay, that's it for lemmatization feature of TextBlob. So moving along, we can also carry out like spell correction using using blob. Yeah. So for example, let me give another example. We say blob equals to, let me run the cell. Okay, good. We could say blob equals to I could say my spelling is always correct. Okay, good. Now we can do like spell check using TextBlob. We could say, as you might say, I spell incorrectly on purpose, to do a test. We could say blob. So again, don't forget we have to convert this to a TextBlob object. We could say blob equals to TextBlob. Then we can do blob dot correct. Okay, perfect. But unfortunately, it's also not, unfortunately, it corrects my mind to buy. Yeah, so spelling is always correct, but it's always correct. So as you might see, this is not very accurate. So I read some article. It says spell check of TextBlob is only about 75%, 75% accuracy. Yeah. So if you want this to work, I will probably recommend to carry on the correction for each single word. Yeah. So we could say for word in blob, we could say word dot correct. Run this. String object has no attribute correct, so we have to do this. We have to wrap this. Now we can run this. We could print. Okay, so my spelling is I think this is not a good idea, but anyway, let's move along. Okay, finally we have translation. We can use translation. We can use TextFlow to translate our text. So we'll be using the sample text again. So we could say, let me copy this. So I'm gonna say blob equals TextBlob. Then we're passing the text. Yeah. So run this. Okay. Now we can do translation. For example, we want to translate this English text into German. Yeah. So how would we do that? We could say blob dot translate parentheses and 2 equals DE. Yeah. So that stands for German. Yeah. So this will do the translation from English to German. Yeah, so let me run this. It says, schön ist besser als hässlich, explicit is better as implicit. Yeah. So as you see, this is also interesting. So it doesn't translate explicit. So as far as I'm recalling, so explicit in German is explizit. Okay. Okay, that's it, guys. I hope this tutorial was useful. I haven't actually really prepared for this tutorial, so as you might see, I really actually made some mistakes here, and so I hope you won't mind. And so anyway, so thanks for watching, and till next time. Yeah, take care. Bye.